Wait a couple more minutes. Okay, I think that I have everything. Good afternoon, everyone. This is Dr. Samuel Lombardo, the Executive Director, CEO, and agent of SL Models and Talent Agency, LLC. We are actually located in the Midwest, which is in the Grand Rapids, Michigan area, as well as the Southeast in the Chattanooga and Atlanta areas. And we are developing a regional office in the West, which would be in California, which we will talk about later because it has something to do with another project that is being worked on. Okay, so I am here tonight to, we have a very, very important topic to talk about. I have been gone for about a week because I've been updating a lot with the website and working on our contests. As you can tell, there was a lot of work that had to be done with our flyers and things to kind of tweak everything up. For those of you that are on Facebook, Instagram, and Twitch, you all have my other websites that are listed in the pinned comments. For YouTube, I was a little bit lazy. I need to actually do that. But anyway, if you'd like to join the SLMTA community, which I'm going to develop the community page here this evening, right after I get done the actual show that I'm about to provide for you tonight. The SL Models and Talent Agencies community is on www.patreon.com/SLMTA. That is where you can join the community for as low as $5 per month. And then we also have other areas where you can follow us. So on YouTube, you can follow us at SL Models and Talent Agency, LLC. That is on Facebook as well as Twitch, twitch.tv/SLMTA. Our website is undergoing some major changes. You probably do see some of those changes that are happening. That is www.slmta-agency.com. Finally, our sponsors, if you're interested in wanting to sponsor, we have two things that we need sponsorships for. We need sponsorships within our local areas for our international artists that are coming in. We also have a sponsorship program for our tuition aid grants for those students who are interested in the Community Stars program and or MAAI training for the upcoming year. Those tuition aid grants will be approved based on income levels as well as budgetary restraints. There will be an application for that, but we would need the sponsors to be able to help make that a reality. You can visit us at slmta-agency.square.site/SLMTA-sponsorships. And that is the best that we have right now. We are making Square part of the SLMTA website. Once that happens, then some of that domain will get cut down. But for now, we're on Square, and that's where we're doing all of our invoices and things like that. Okay, now on to announcements. You're going to be seeing some very interesting things coming from me, as I have been approved to actually do some influencing commercial. There's an infomercial, excuse me, let me start over. Influencing commercials and infomercials. There we go. Woo, wow. It's been a very, very, very long day, week, everything. It's been, I will tell you a little bit about that as we get into tonight's topic. But I am excited to say that I have been approved to do some influencing things. So SLMTA, as well as myself on a personal level, will be doing TikTok. TikTok will actually be part of the YouTube channel. We also are going to be providing our live streams on livestream.com, where I'm going to be providing actual podcast shows. They're going to be starting up. The backgrounds and everything are being tweaked right now. So a lot of stuff has been changed during the time that you have not seen me. Sometimes you just have to work it all out. You just have to be quiet, sit still, listen, take a breather, and then like get back at it. And so that's what I'm doing. I'm back at it again. I'm here with y'all tonight for a 3-hour special. Come on, interact with me. This is our evening SLMTA live show. It is a 3-hour interactive show. Now, I'm going to answer a question, but I'm going to backtrack a minute before I answer that question, because that has nothing to do with this. So I am going to be sponsoring some things. I'm also, we have many accounts that I have not even listed. So if you're interested in getting involved with some major big news, as well as entertainment events and news as well, you'll want to pay more close attention to the YouTube channel. So do not forget to subscribe to SL Models and Talent Agency LLC, because for free, it's just a click of a button and a ding on a notifications bell, because in all honesty, a lot of things are going to be happening. I'm doing a lot of changes and everything as well. So even more so than what you have already seen, many things are going to be changing. We're also going to be adding 30 to 60-second commercials in between. We are getting a lot of buzz right now. There are millions of people watching. Well, I need the millions of you to actually press the subscribe button. Just subscribe, okay? Remember to do that. SL Models and Talent Agency. By the way, we are growing. I hadn't even been online at all for like a week, maybe 2 at the most. And I have grown to over over 1,000. I think it's like we're heading toward 1,500 subscribers, folks. I think we could probably get there by next week, to be honest. We're probably going to get to 1,500 subscribers. Let your friends know. Even if you have to develop a YouTube channel just for the interaction, or even a Twitch show, like, don't be lazy. It's free of charge. Who knows? Maybe I will be your inspiration to get your channel going. You know, not everybody has to do the same thing. It's a little bit of what we're going to talk about tonight. I'm going a little bit off topic from what my other topics were, because you know, tonight's just going to be like a breather. But I really want you guys to take advantage of that. So yes, there is a YouTube channel, and yes, there are people in my community of entertainment. whether they own their own agencies, whether they are a model, whether they are an actor. You know, I'm going to be sharing them in the community section of my YouTube channel so that you would be able to interact more and get some other questions answered, like the real questions, the tough questions, the I'm tired of wasting my time questions. Okay, that's what I'm talking about. All right, and we need that community. All right, and that's what we're going to be doing tonight. We're going to talk a lot about that tonight. We're also going to talk about stepping into action, you know, because some of us, we hadn't really woken up. Some of us think that it's a bad dream and we're back to this fear factor again. So we need to readdress the situation, but I have more information provided to you than what I've already provided. So come on, folks, come on, let's bring it on. Pivot into action. Okay. We are still looking for commercials, and what we plan to do, even as we soon set up our YouTube channel for YouTube related ads, we are actually going to be putting in commercials that will be showing live on all of our platforms that we have. Whether the actual subscribers get to see this, or if people are coming in and out and they're seeing it, whatever the case may be, we are definitely going to be working those details out, because here's the thing that's weird about us, and I'm both on my studio as well as on my live. And I could tell from my studio that the current playbacks, the viewers are not the same as the playbacks, but the analytics are actually way out of this world. So we need to actually convert what is happening, who all is actually involved in the actual viewing versus those who are viewing, and the actual impressions, and make them all be actual subscribers. That's what I was focusing on for the past week before I took off. And believe me, even before I took off, there were a whole lot of subscribers. So now I'm right where I need to be. I'm seeing everyone that is actually watching this, and there are several thousands of you that are actually on, and you have impressions, but the views wasn't enough to actually catch you in. So and I want to actually make this a little bit more relevant too. Now, not relevant, what's the word I'm looking for? Interesting for folks to actually be involved and want to see and understand more. So you're going to be seeing changes on how I actually do videos and things as well as the time progresses. The lives will still happen at night, but during the day, now that I've made some changes in my schedules, during the day, I'm actually going to be doing periodical shows that will actually touch on different other topics that are relevant to the industry. Because there's a lot of information out there that needs to be shared, also that needs to be heard. All right. The other announcement is Spring Fling Extravaganza and the Kids Showcase Extravaganza. It is coming and it will be popping. It is actually, there were some glitches in the software system that I was using, which is good because I'm trying to do it where it could be on an app for your cell phone, as well as adaptable to iPads and things to that nature, as well as a laptop. We also had to make sure that the text voting feature would work and that our flagging system was appropriate to what we were actually, what the accomplished goal is. So with all that being said, because there was a couple of glitches, we are a little bit held up, but I heard some good news that the software looks to be picking up. So what I'm going to be doing is setting up a landing page specifically for these contacts that are relevant to the contacts for you to go ahead and start submitting. The contest is going to be May 1st through July 15th. But the voting doesn't end until July 31st, because we want to make sure that if someone's going to show up on July 15th, that there is still enough time to actually get people in to vote. We technically don't like to do it that way where there's only 2 weeks, so we're going to see how fair this actually goes. If no one does submit after the first week in July, we might actually take the system down, because we don't want to be having scenarios that, we want to make it as fair as possible. And this is a full-on contest. It's going to be very simple, a very simple contest. You're going to just submit 3 photos, professional, model looking. I'm going to put this in quotes, like pretty face related actual photos. Okay. So do not give me anything that is like you waking up out of bed or standing in front of a window or something like that, unless it's an actual model shoot. Okay, and you want to provide that for us. There is a top prize, and then there are other prizes as well. The first 100, they have a choice. The top 100 has a choice if you guys want to actually be represented by SL Models and Talent Agency, because we know that a lot of people are going to sign up for this thing, and not it's going to be a tight race. I'm going to tell you that right from the get-go. It's going to be tight. Everything that I'm planning to do here, no matter what I do, it just seems to be that we're going to probably end up going like eeny, meeny, miny, mo to figure out where the top 100 is. That's what the bottom line is. And actually what we have, that's why we don't want no one voting more than one time only, because there's going to be a whole lot of people sharing everything. Everybody's going to be sharing everywhere. So you're going to vote one time for a person. So if you voted for a person already before, that is your vote. It's going to be almost kind of like trying to figure out who the class president is for the college or something. Okay, where you're submitting a ballot, you can't go in there and submit all these different names. Now, what you can do in the voting poll, we have top 1, then we got the next levels, top 4. So you can vote in up to 5 people that you think is going to be the best, even after you vote for your front. But the real goal behind all of it is actually making sure that we're not getting 40 people voting for the same people every day. And for the other thing, because it just confuses everything of what's already happening. And we do have moderators. That is for sure. We do have moderators. So just FYI, if for some reason you're able to skip the system and actually be able to vote in any other way. Okay. So there's a little bit about that. Now, the other piece I want to mention about this is that The spring fling extravaganza is for 18 through senior. That's how we're actually going to say it. Here's why. 18 to 25 is young adults. You still qualify under, especially in the European areas, if you are appropriate. You do qualify for haute couture, petite, and a real high fashion model that, you know, a place like France would be looking for, okay? But then there's the trendsetters who are 25, 30 plus, okay? What I'm calling it is basically just simply put 30 years old, okay? Or actually, I'm sorry, 26 to 65. And then 65 plus would be senior, okay? There are the three categories that you would be able to submit yourself into. So now if you're 45, trying to look like you're 25, and you're submitting photos to act as such, guess what? The system will not allow you to do that. You have to apply along your age range, because that's where you're going to show up anyway. It doesn't matter. You can say that you're 45 and you'll look 25, but the system's going to actually flag you at 45, so that's where you're going to go. Unless you're lying on your date of birth, but it's going to be kind of hard to do because we have a confidentiality agreement that basically opens the door up to, you have to provide proof of your age. So there's 3 photos that you will submit. Then there's the proof of your age, okay? And then you're going to do an introductory video. The introductory video, it plainly states in there, no more than 90 seconds. You only have 1.5 minutes to actually state who you are, what you want to do, you know, where you are now and where you want to be, okay? Then there's optional videos. It's not saying that you have to do it, because we're going to have you do it later on if you're chosen anyway. But there are optional videos where you can do a video of you walking and then introducing yourself, but you really have to be creative. You can't just sit there in your bedroom walking back and forth like, yeah, I know how to do a catwalk. No, you actually have to give us a creative video of you doing your walk, because that's not going to supply, that's not going to help. Okay, as the plane comes through the air, I don't know if you actually hear it or not, because I've been trying to finagle with the sound here as well. Okay, so that's that. And it's the same thing with the kids as well. Okay, the kids will have to show proof of their age. You're going to submit 3 photos. That would be the parents. And that's just as simple as like a school ID or something. It doesn't have to be like the state ID or anything, as long as it shows the age. And the reason is because that is the only thing of validation that we can actually use until we actually say, okay, you are the winner, and then end up taking you to the top 100, then that's a whole nother issue. All right. So you don't have to choose what age you are. The system's going to flag you into that age. So it doesn't matter what you look like. We might actually like the fact that you're a 45-year-old that could play a 20-year-old. Okay. If that is you, then great. But you're going to have to, be honest about what you're putting in this application. All right, that's number 1. Number 2 is the kids is a little bit different. We're just looking for cute faces when it comes to kids, and and that's basically really what that is. We have 3 age groups. We have ages 4 to 7, 8 to 12, and 13 to 17. Okay, so that should be pretty standard. And this is your opportunity. Let me tell you the other piece of good news as well. This is your opportunity where you will actually be exposed, because I've been sending emails and I'm still sending them out as I've been speaking. I'm not doing it now because I'm online with you guys, interacting. But we are actually, we do have some clients, and we also have a few agencies that were very, very interested in just seeing what comes out of this contest. So I'm only going to tell you that that's as far as that has got, that is as far as I'm going to say it right now. That doesn't mean that's as far as it's gotten. It's actually more than what I'm actually telling you. But the reason I'm leaving stuff out on purpose is because we want you to be comfortable with what you are providing to us. Okay? Because this could be your break. This literally could be your break. If you can show us that you can walk down a runway, that you have what it takes, that you know that you have a portfolio of pictures that you can show. We're only asking for 3 as far as the submission goes. Okay, but it cannot just be any 3. You have to show your oomph. This is a competition. This is a contest. This is you getting your break and showing off in front of the world, because at this point, it is the world that is going to vote for you, nobody else. I'm not charging for votes, even though that this software could allow me to do it, but it's not a it's a fundraising event, but it's not. I'm not charging for votes. So the best thing that could actually happen is that the world is going to see each other. You're going to see each other. You want to vote for each other. You want to share who you are, but you're going to have to be ready for that. And we're going to be talking about that, because there are those out there that are sleepwalking in this industry. Yes, I'm talking about sleepwalking now. That's more scarier than just dreaming. Okay. Let me repeat that. That's more scarier than just dreaming. You could dream and dream and dream and dream. But if you ain't picking yourself up and you ain't doing nothing about it, not pivoting into the action, then guess what? It don't mean nothing. You could blah, 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 blah. Go ahead. Oh, I wish I could have been that model on that contest. Because let me tell you something. I will say this. The top one is going to be on a big major magazine. And that's all I'm going to tell you. Yes, that is right. Big major magazine, no lies intended. Now, I will tell you what the dreamer is versus the sleepwalkers. I will give you the definition, and then we're going to get right into talking about it, because you know me, I'm going to be spilling out the beam, and I'm going to say it like it is. So preach it, brother. If that's you and you want me to preach it, I'm going to preach it tonight. Yes, indeed. Amen. I'm going to preach it tonight. Dreaming is assuming the action of what you want to take. Listen to me very carefully. Dreaming is assuming the action that you want to take. Sleepwalking is the action in the wrong direction because of the assumption. Hold up. What? Sleepwalking is the action in a diverse way, in a reverse way, from your actual action, from the assumptions of what you were dreaming. Okay, Doc, you got to tell me, you got to explain to me what you mean. Because that definition didn't really go clear with me. All right, I'm gonna tell you this right now, what I mean. All right, so when you're dreaming, when you are actually dreaming, you have the vision in your mind about what it is that you want to do. You're laying on it, right? Sleepwalking means that you're doing some walking. You're actually walking, but you're pivoting, you're moving in all different directions with the assumption that the action's already in place, but you're doing nothing with it. It's the biggest joke. Hear me out, folks. Hear me out when I'm saying this. I'm not kidding when I'm telling you that. It's the most dangerous piece of dreaming that you could ever do is sleepwalking. Why is sleepwalking dangerous? Well, I'm pretty sure you probably saw many psychological stories. Sleepwalking, right, where you don't know what you're doing, right? You're just walking, and all of a sudden you could be like, okay. I gotta keep this G-rated because it's supposed to be for kids too, so let me figure this out. Okay. Sleepwalking, like you could literally be walking yourself down the steps and into the kitchen, assuming you're going into the cookie jar, and you might find out that your hand is actually going into a jar of jelly. All right, I think you kind of know where I'm getting at now. Do I have to bring even a better example out? Do I have to keep the examples going? Because I sure can. That's what sleepwalking is. So for sleepwalking, you're still dreaming, but this is where insanity comes in. Oh no, Samuel, you did not just go there. No way. Doc, you did not just go there, did you? Yes, I did. Yes, I did. What do I mean by insanity? Where you're doing all kinds of different things, right? You're hoping for the same result, but you're doing all kinds of things for that assumption. And yet, what makes it even worse when it comes to insanity is the fact that what you are doing, there's nothing there. So what kind of dream is that when there's nothing there? I'm going to tell you that this situation of sleepwalking, I feel is a big major situation coming from America as a whole, and it is actually very important. I'm talking more toward the entertainment industry, but let me step out of the box and actually get into the big picture now. The real big picture about sleepwalking is realizing that you actually have a dream. And then you're thinking that you're walking into that goal to find yourself realizing that no matter what you do, you still end up having the same results, but you're expecting a different result of a very specific thing to happen. And you keep doing all these different things. insanity equals sleepwalking, or sleepwalking equals insanity. And it's a very, it's probably, I'm saying it in a funny way tonight because I'm in a good mood anyway. Okay. But no, for real. I'm saying it in a funny way because the most negative response out there ever for anyone. And actually, this is the true result as to why agencies, some of the training agencies, are not revolving what they need to be. What do I mean by that? We are visionaries to start our businesses, to run our agencies. But you'll have people that walk in or may not even show up. Oh yeah, I know I gotta be preaching right now. Not even show up. They'll just sit there. They're like this. I think the enter button's over here. Ding. And then maybe by their luck that their finger was actually able to hit the enter button is as far as they got, but they were still sleeping. So how does an agency work with that? How does an agency work with someone that accidentally hits the enter button and doesn't show up? Folks, I'm here to tell you right now exactly what you do. See, I had dealt with a sleepwalker before. And one thing that I had to do with a sleepwalker, this is a particular one. I'm not saying that this is going to happen every time, but I have actually thrown cold water on a sleepwalker. Like, it's time to wake up. What are you doing? Walking around, you're about to fall down the steps. Walking around, like, do you know where you're walking to? Do you know what you're doing? Did you know what you were typing? Oh no, I'm sorry if I'm like cracking on eggs tonight. I'm walking on eggshell. So I don't know what eggshells you were saying, but I know I'm not walking on it. I have no reason to walk on eggshells unless I actually want to walk straight to them and I'm, whatever. I'm not even going to go there. Folks, I'm not saying that you would have to throw cold water because half of us will never see them to even throw the water, okay? But basically what I'm saying is that when I throw cold water, the goal is to wake them up. And the only way that you could wake up someone that's sleepwalking is to let them know the opportunity they have lost. You have to keep pushing. Don't worry about them. They want to lose the opportunity, that's on them. There's all kind of sleepwalkers out there. I'll tell you this right now. They're walking and walking and walking and walking like, look, I am very beautiful. I am sexy. I know how to model. This one person told me I had the best legs. Really? Okay. And guess where they've been walking to? In and out the doors, in and out, in and out. How many doors have they walked in and out of and they still haven't figured out the real problem? The real problem is I had sexy legs, but I didn't know what to do with them. Come on. Are you hearing me right now? Are you hearing me right now? You got to be. This is the most funniest ever that you'll ever see me here live on YouTube. Because tonight it is crazy. It is popping. What is sleepwalking into the industry? What is that? These are the no-showers, the Nelly Wellies, the no-sayers, the soothsayers, I don't know what, all the blah, 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 and the no action, like to do anything but to waste your time. Ignore that contract and just keep on moving. Seriously. Then you have the other sleepwalkers. Oh yeah, there's several types of sleepwalkers. So there's the ones that talk. Then there's the ones that actually do, they actually have some action. Yes, they do. You remember the guy that thought he was going to put his hands in a jar of cookies, but ended up putting his hands in a jar of jelly? Oh my God, I don't know how that even happened. You got to unscrew the top first, don't you, in order to do that? So somebody else must have either got to close the top, or he was very good at sleepwalking to the point that in his mind he knew to twist the top in order to get into it. Well, anyway, long story short, there are these folks that are like, you know, I've been the top #1 this, I've been over here like that, I've been award winning of this, I've been on this press, that press, sitting on the couch and everything else. And guess what? They're wondering why it is that only so much is happening, but they walked into the industry. It's like they had a pattern to walk in, but then all of a sudden it's like the pandemic closed them up, you know, like pushed them or something, like, you know, into the ditch or something. I don't know what happened when these sleepwalkers are actually, believe it or not, are probably, some of them could actually be dangerous. If you're sitting there, you're actually trying to get to where you need to go from point A to point B, and they're just sitting there like, well, you know, here's my goal. I'm just walking into it, but you could be walking into a goalpost here soon if you don't know where you're walking to. Are you hearing me? Or are you that other sleepwalker that keeps on moving the goalposts? Hallelujah. When I say it, say amen. Yeah, that's what I'm talking about. You probably that other sleepwalker who keeps moving the goalposts. What do I mean by that? Oh, there's too much good going on here. I gotta go, like, I gotta back this up. I gotta move over here. I don't need them to really, you know, I gotta be careful about who I'm in contact with. I don't want my picture to show up over there. And you know, I don't even know who you are. I don't know nothing about this. And I don't know anything about your agency. You know, your website looks like a 2-year-old, like, placed it together, all this stuff, right? Oh yeah, if you're hearing me, then I hope you are. Okay, all these, what I call 10-year-old statements, right? It's called moving the goalposts. It's like, you know who you are, and you're coming up like this celeb. You're supposed to be like this celeb, right? And then you're moving a goalpost like, yeah, no, I'm not going to go that far. That's dangerous. That is actually more dangerous than me just sitting here saying, okay, you didn't want to have an interview with me today. All right, that's fine. Next time, when you wake up, I'll see you. We can handle them ones. The other ones is a little bit more dangerous. Why am I saying that? Because they're actually moving. They're actually moving. But what you have to understand is that the more that they are like talking or pivoting into their sleepwalk mode or moving these goalposts, you are actually going to see exactly more about who they are. Because here's the reality, folks, when it comes to the entertainment industry, it is who you are that counts. It's not always about what you know and who you know. And that piece is going to be changing probably very, very soon with the reality of where economics, where the industry itself is heading and everything. I mean, just look at infomercials versus commercials relating just with clothing and how much money they were able to save and things like that. I mean, come on, you got to be hearing me out. We all have goals in mind. We're all visionaries, right? Amen. I believe so. I hope so. But we end up with this situation. Wow, I feel like preaching tonight. Oh man, this ain't ending anytime soon. No, it is not. It is the interactive show, Evening SLMTA, pivot into action. What is sleepwalking into the industry? Folks, we are talking about sleepwalking and how dangerous sleepwalking is. You can't sleepwalk into anything. Yes, I am not kidding when I say it. If you're a good sleepwalker, oh my goodness, congratulations. I gotta give it to you. I really do. I've had some pretty close calls. I mean, I did some sleepwalking when I was 2 or 3. Shoot, I even saw bubbles in my younger year. I thought I was going to be stuck in one and be floating around. I don't even know what that. I don't even know what that was, but it was very interesting and creepy in my eyes when I was younger. I mean, come on, let's be real. Okay, but it's not real. It's fake. Anything dealing with sleeping, you are sleeping, okay? When you are dreaming, it is a dream. It ain't real until something happens that you are seeing, that your vision has actually made action. So if you're putting action into what your dream is, it's going to develop a reality. Do you hear me? It will develop a reality. But some of us are just, we are dreaming. Some of us, and I hadn't even brought this one up, this is a whole nother topic. Some of us are sitting in there daydreaming. What? Oh no, Samuel. Oh no, Doc. What are you talking about? What is this? Daydreaming? Sleepwalking, dreaming, and daydream? What's going on here? Some of us only we end up finding ourselves walking, and then we pull on ourselves back. That is a fear energy of specific things that are actually happening. It is the reality of the fear energy, which is more of the psychological impact of everything. Some of us don't realize that we are sleepwalking even when we are actually walking. That's why I did this on purpose. This, when I say what is sleepwalking into the industry, it is exactly what it sounds like. Because some of us, we are actually sleepwalking into the industry. We're basically saying we know what we need to know. We're doing it like this, but as soon as it gets to a certain point, we're either moving the goalposts to make it more difficult, where it's and some of us may not be moving the goalposts to make it more difficult. It could be to make it more easier, but have the wrong dream of the income, the prosperity of their dream. And then there are others who are actually Instead of sleeping in a dream, they are daydreaming with this idea that they have this idea. They even start the business or whatever. They could be walking towards the goal of perhaps walking and how I want to say this, like actually going into an agency, and then all of a sudden it's like, no, I don't think this is the agency for me. And it's like, how many doors is that? Then you got some businesses where are just flat out revolving doors. You did not just go there. Yes, I did. Yes, I did. Revolving doors, what is that? They're the ones where it goes around and around, right? People are going in, people going out. That door just keeps going around. You don't know when they're coming in and when they're going out. That is sleepwalking in the industry. Some folks actually bank on your dollar successfully through sleepwalking. But let me tell you something. In the end, when you are sleepwalking, and you know this, what happens immediately when someone just goes and throws very cold, or even hot water, it don't matter, but cold ice water on your face in the middle of sleepwalking? You go into shock. It's like, oh, where am I at? What? Well, those kind of industries are the ones that will go like this. Oh my God, like I made billions now. And it's all of a sudden everybody's going to the stores. Oh my God, what are we going to do? Are we going to have to sell everything like 30% off to like get people to get back online again? Free delivery, or what are we going to be doing? Oh my goodness, no, we're in a shock. You know what? No, here's a better idea. Let's just keep that revolving door. Well, we still got managers that actually don't know what it means to have a revolving door. So we're just going to keep spinning this door. No, throw that cold water on their face and let them be in shock, because you know what? Now is the time that we will be growing according to what I am actually seeing. Now, with that being said, tomorrow is going to be a little bit of a different topic because there is some prophecy involved with this as well. But for tonight, sleepwalking into the industry is, I'm just forewarning those who have these dangerous feels of themselves. The revolving doors at some point do not revolve. They don't stay revolving. They really don't. So you can't sleepwalk forever. At some point, you're either going to be like sleepwalking yourself to the Netherlands, I'll just put it that way, keep it G-rated, or you're going to wake up and say, okay, this isn't working. For some of us, we haven't waken up. And that probably could actually mean, and I'm saying this, some of you know what I'm talking about out there. If you follow me, say amen when I say that. It's all right, okay? For some of you, it may end up being a total 100% overhaul. Did you hear that? Oh, yeah. Time for change. Overhaul equals change when I'm talking about economic, business, and that kind of thing, okay? Anytime you hear me use that term, overhaul, that's what it means. It means that there is a big change on the horizon. But a big change cannot happen with a revolving door. That door has to close and they got to rebuild the entry. Oh, did I? Oh, oh my God. Did I say that? Did I say that? And by the way, it could literally, if it's done right and we are awake in the midst of it, it probably does not have to mean a literal closing. It could just mean a revamp from the top down. Oh, yes, there are companies out there that are actually blaming the peons because they are afraid of losing their job. They don't even realize that they're the ones that are more revolving than the ones walking through the door. And yet they are the ones that are supposed to be setting this up. Oh, hear me out, hear me out, hear me out. This ain't a joke. There is no joking in this. See, in heaven, there is no revolving door. It's a straight way, narrow way right into heaven. There is no revolving door. There is no, oh, you made it in. I'm sorry. We're not going to be able to handle this. I'm going to kick you out and boot you to the curb. There is none of that. Or there is no sleepwalkers in heaven, where at least I hope there isn't, where they're like walking in and then they're like walking back out and they're walking back in and they're walking and they're like, they don't even know how many times they're going in and out. And they're like, that was actually Lucifer at one point until finally Jesus did what he needed to do and just crushed it. And that was the last time Lucifer made it through that door. Amen. Let me hear it. Because that is actually the truth. So I wanna multiply this out. Let's put that. Now that I got out of the box and I'm sitting there preaching, now we're gonna bring it back home now. Okay, we're talking about the entertainment industry here. But again, you know, God used me in many different tools. Amen. I want to tell you, in the entertainment industry, we actually have more revolving doors than what even fulfillment centers would have. And that's actually a pretty bad situation. What starts a revolving door? When there is someone that is just not interested in what the activity is or what that person is or what is happening, they move on to the next subject line. So revolving equals the interpretation of no resolution. There is no resolution. It's just easier to just boot them out. Well, that's not good. And then there are agencies that are willing to work with those, but then you have the sleepwalker that walk in, or they might just have the dream and they just happen to know how to hit the enter button for their interview or whatever, but never show up. Now, if anything, at the very least, that would be annoying. But what infuriates someone like me is when you have the actual visionary sleepwalking, which is with no resolution. In other words, if you're having an interview and a person's saying, I could do this, I could do that, I could do the other thing, I could be, you know what? Let me do whatever I want to do. As long as you're going to pay me, I'm going to do it, right? Well, of course you want to pay them. I mean, why would you not want to, right? So then the revolving door is, this is what we can do. We can do it like this, you do this, and you're going to do it like that. Well, the revolving door, actually, the resolution starts spiraling off. In other words, well, see, I don't really want to do this with you. I want to do that with you. And the goal really is, what that really tells me is, this is not really what you're interested in anymore. But my assumption was this is who you were. Why? Because that's what I saw. I'm not sleepwalking. I see what I see. But you're saying that you're not doing this no more. You're not interested in this any longer, that you are actually wanting to do this. But the reality is, are you actually able to fluctuate the same way doing this than you are with that? Or are you actually just moving a goalpost to make it look like you're going to have some time with somebody when in actuality, you're just wasting someone's time? You see where I'm getting at? I'm making it very clear. SL Models and Talent Agency LLC does not have time to waste. Time is money. That is correct. Let me explain that in two ways. For those of you that are wanting to make money in the industry, wanting to put yourself out there in front of that hold on, let me back that up. You're wanting to be the front page picture, photo of that top magazine. Or you're wanting to get in that contest, but all you're saying is, I wanna, okay? But you're not actually doing it. I don't have time for you, okay? I don't have time for that. But at the same time, do you have time to lose? So, because that could have been your break. So while I don't have time for you, because there ain't no time I'm losing anyway, I've already lost my time, okay? Quote unquote. It was productive, but I developed the contest. So now it's up to you to click the submit button and follow through. Yeah, that's right. I'm talking to you. Click that submit button and follow through. Either that, or I'm going to put it plain and simple in 2 words. Shut up. Oh, no. No, Doc, you're too mean. That's mean. What do you mean? What do I mean? Nobody ain't got time to sit there and listen to blah, 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 blah about what you wish you could have or would have had, would have, could have, should have done. If you didn't do it, you didn't do it. Point blank. It don't matter what excuse follow. I don't care about the revolving door. This isn't a revolving door here. When you click submit, the only door is that we either close it and let you know you was not accepted, or B, you were accepted and the door is open. Now it's up to you to take the next step. Well, you know, everything is a step in a process. Come on, folks, you got to do the work. Why do I have to audition? Oh, I'm beautiful with sexy legs. Oh, but why do I have to audition? Who are you kidding? Who are you kidding? What time do you have to be sitting there talking about your sexy legs when you should be out there shaking them sexy legs? Come on now, are you hearing me? Come on now, are you actually hearing me? What is wrong with some of us that are out there? When are you going to wake up? Is it going to take somebody to actually throw cold water on you? What do I mean? See, how I do cold water is I click the block button. I just don't have time for it. That's the cold water. The cold water is, man, you have what it takes. You have opportunity, but you're just doing nothing. Folks, SLMTA specifically now, we have so much great opportunity. It's starting to grow into the fact, real ashraptalcy even. I'm learning about other people. I'm learning about other nations, other cultures. And I'm also learning other things that are actually very on a, how do I want to say, on a humble note. And the good news is that there seems to be an alignment. Now, I have explained to you what this was before. We're all parallel. That's the first reality you need to understand, is that we are all on this earth. We all have a vision. Okay? That's the truth. We can't deny that. We all have that. But what we're denying is some of us are kind of going off course. Like, we're on the road. It's like you got 20 highways and we're all parallel together, but we're not on the same highway. Some of us are supposed to turn around the curve, but we're just running into the woods and the trees and everything else and hopping on another highway. But we don't actually have the resources to do what's necessary. That could be a toll booth over there, and you don't even have the money to pay the booth. Well, guess what? Now you're booted back out. I'm sorry to say this, folks, but the truth of the matter is the universe has a way of booting us out of the road that you thought you were going to be on. You're getting off. No, you belong over there. Yeah, you're paralleled. Yes, you got that right. But you can't be turning into this road. That ain't for you. Are you hearing me? That's just simple language right there. If you can't get that basic part up, then, wake up. You got to wake up. I don't know how you're going to do it. Maybe sleep in a cold shower, but you got to do something. All right. So then once you realize that you are parallel and you are happy with what God put in front of you, okay, you will start to see things aligning along the way. It's kind of like when you're taking a trip, right? And this even happens to me. It's like I'm like, no, I want to take the shortcut, and God's like, no, too many potholes. And then when I turn around and say, oh, that don't matter, it's still the shortcut. Guess what? I hit the first pothole, the tire pops. Well, I don't know what to tell you. I told you not to go that way. Well, God gives you the opportunity and is actually trying to save you from one issue, but you're over here with another. And sometimes God wants you to go right into the issue. You don't know that. You don't know if God's going to want you to get out of the issue or into an issue. Usually the issue is something that you can handle, that for some reason or another, you would have to call upon God anyway to begin with. You'd have to call in prayer to figure out the choice, right? But for the most part, to keep things a little bit simple for tonight's discussion, we're talking about being parallel and that things fall in place. So you might have thought that you wanted to be like this celebrity singer, all right? And somewhere along the line. Now, I'm going to tell you the truth. The only difference between you knowing if it's God telling you to get out of it and you actually deciding to get out of it is the prayer in between. What do I mean by that? Well, even if you don't believe in prayer, I'm going to tell you a very good harsh reality right now. Let's say I was a famous singer and the pandemic hit, right? And now I can no longer sing. I forgot how to even hit a G from an H. No, I'm kidding. I know that H is not on a piano and there is no key to letter H. But anyway, I wanted to say a joke. Okay, so I can't hit a letter A from a B. Right? I forgot how to do arpeggios and all this stuff, right? Well, you forgetting how to do that is a natural instinct that you've forgotten to do that. But if you're sitting there like, well, I'm not going to be able to do this anymore, so it looks like I'm just going to have to go and do this, and you're just all of a sudden just all over the place, like I'm going to study this, I'm going to do it like that, I'm going to go like that. So that 9 times out of 10 is, even though that you're putting yourself into a parallel, you are still going off course. So you're finding what is happening through this pandemic to reach what is aligning. The problem is that because the pandemic is the first series of prophetic series, which I'll explain in tomorrow's message, the issue is that we were in a blank state. So there wasn't really anything there. And the real question is, how prepared were you? And you have to focus on yourself. It's kind of like a car driving down the road and you never gave it an oil change, right? Never, not one time. And here you are driving down the road, and all of a sudden it's just dark and void. It's all you by yourself. There is no other cars coming up and down the road. There is no gas stations, no nothing. You ran out of gas because you only had a quarter of a tank of gas. Next thing you know, you hear a knock in your engine and you're like, oh my God, check engine light is on. The tire starts to wiggle. What am I going to do? Right? Well, that is where we were at the pandemic. Now we can say, oh, everybody got sick and died. That's a big excuse, right? Yeah, that's the reality. That's what happened. The spiritual intake from all this is that God has sealed the souls of those who have died. Us that are living, us that were not prepared, need to be prepared. The question is, how many of us are driving down that dark road with a wiggle wheel, with a check engine light on, and no gas? How many of us are doing it? Only you can answer that. I'm not going to answer it for you, but that's basically what this is about, the pandemic. This is the point of the pandemic. Now, we can all put definitions to it. We can all say, oh, no, it was political and all this. No, while there is those arguments, which is a truth, well, that's a tomorrow night's discussion. The real thing is that one person over another is trying to figure out how they can overcome something that we had no control over. Even if we're just going to pretend that it ain't there, because guess what? Unfortunately, that's what some of us are doing today. Some of us are just flat out retaliating, saying, nope, we're going to get rid of this. We're not going to do it like that no more. Some of us are actually saying, no, come on now, you have to pay attention to CDC guidelines. You got to do this. You got to be right. You got to be prepared, all that. So then you got other ones that are like, well, the news ain't talking about it no more. Why do I have to care about it? The news is not even going to dictate when Jesus is coming again. So if you're not prepared, news or no news, the good news is that he's coming. Is he going to come for you? So I'm excited. I'm not in an argumentative mood. I'm actually excited. What am I excited about? You're probably wondering. I'm excited about the fact that we are one step closer to the return of Jesus. And at the same time, that I have learned so much from this pandemic that it didn't even need to take a psychiatrist, a spiritual pastor, or anyone to actually explain what was going on. And on another topic, God chooses the right people to express the right messages. I'm just a tell it like it is type of person when it comes to very specific details, especially things where we are actually so blind at that we actually should have been able to open our eyes and see that it was happening in front of us to begin with, right? But sometimes we're like deep sleepers. Another term. We'll talk about deep sleeping tomorrow. But I just find it ironic. Like, we all have a purpose on this earth. And by the way, I like the idea of being able to reestablish companies. I like the idea of forming new companies and all that. But if everybody was to start a company, at what point would there actually be an Indian going to see the chief? If we're all starting companies, believe it or not, here's another real reality check too. There would be no reason for taxation. You're probably wondering, what do you mean by that? I might be having, Uncle Sam might be watching this now. What do you mean? Oh yeah, that's another harsh reality. If everybody is sitting there starting up businesses, what taxation would you need? You're going to be taxing yourself. Well, then let's put that on a flip side. What are we all doing? Folks, you following me here? I hope I'm not like confusing anybody. I really hope I'm not. Truth of the matter is, without the businesses, right? Well, actually, without the people, there is no taxation. But with the businesses, you're arguing over the businesses paying taxation. The problem is that we are still dealing with revolving doors and very bad sleepwalkers. These are the people that are saying that we want to do it like this and we're going to do it like that. But here's the truth of the matter. If you want somebody to do something, then you have to actually show that they're going to do it. And then they hear about somebody else complaining. Now, this is what I call this is what I call insanity, actually, right here. This is when you are having a whole nother party complaining about taxation. But then the reality is they're not even paying any of that taxation anyway. What are you arguing about? What are you arguing about? I mean, come on. At the same time, I would have to switch the question. Well, what are you raising? I can tell you this much. You're not raising the dead. That's Jesus' job. Yeah, you're not going to be able to raise the law. I mean, you could raise the world law, yes, because, again, what is Caesar's is Caesar's, what is God's. But we cannot dictate God's law over the world law. Ooh, well, that's going to be a subject for tomorrow. There's going to be some toes that are going to be crushed, not stepped on, but crushed. Oh, Lord, no. I went down the wrong pipe. Some of these things are extremely, extremely important. Like I have actually been in tears during the past couple of weeks while trying to focus on everything that's around me. Because a lot of the visions that I get, as well as a lot of the messages that I get, and to be able to apply them to today's world is just, it's amazing, a little bit overwhelming. Excuse me. But at the same time, I always thank God. I always do. And believe me, in the process of this whole thing, I'm learning many different lessons. Folks, I want to touch a little bit on this thing about love. Yes, love, love, love. See, this is where sleepwalking comes in again. And then once I talk about this, we're going to wrap it back around to the industry, because I want you to understand why love is very important. And I'm talking in the pretense of love versus fear. But love also means the type of people that you are with, support system, and everything else that is revolving around that. If you're one of those that are out there that are dealing with the fact of a decision on whether you should divorce or not, and you hadn't made that step, there may be that point of the truth in where I have to congratulate God in the presence of your lesson. Because what that is saying is that, and this is true, this is the reality of that situation, is that we end up being confused about who we think is the one, excuse me, or we are confused about whether or not we even found the one. Because here's the problem. Some of us are sleepwalking in our relationships, not even realizing that the one was there. all along. There is a point in time, again, God states this, it's called the imputable sin, where God gives you the chance to be forgiven, but at the same time, what is the limit? What is the limit? There is a limit, but the problem is some of us are preaching that it is not. And that the minute that you do it because you know about it, it's forgiven. So I want to clear up a little bit of confusion. First of all, you actually have to first realize that is the action of repentance. And then that's when you can actually do the other part after you own up to it, that something had happened, then you can ask for the forgiveness. Sometimes it could be implied. Don't get me wrong, it does happen. I've had people imply it to me many times. They may come to me and thank me about something that I either A, have already forgotten about because I moved through my life with the acceptance that it happened. And then I'm like, oh, okay, you're thanking me. Oh, you're welcome. You know, sometimes I might think it's weird, but, and I'm not afraid to admit it. But while it may be weird, there's nothing wrong with you actually thanking a person, because the opposite of thanking is saying I didn't like it and being judgmental. And therefore, even if thanking is very difficult to do, despite what the situation is, that was the action you needed to take in order to allow acceptance into your life. The question really is whether or not that lesson has actually been revealed. And that will determine on if you have to keep thanking different people for the same reasons. At that point, you may have to accept to yourself a few options. There could be a few options in there. It could actually be that you're insane and you're trying to get some kind of a result, but doing different things to get to that result. I mean, it could be that you're sleepwalking. It could be that you're the revolving door. It could be that it could be many, many different things of what I have discussed here tonight. But the truth of the matter is, the game ain't over. The game is only over when God says it's the end. Okay, that means that you lived your life and that's it. Done, point blank. There is nothing to argue about after that. In fact, you're going to be in a deep sleep that you will not have the strength to be able to argue. So then you'd have to wait for what? This thing called the judgment day. Well, some of us like to make up what we think that means. Oh, the judgment day, you know, everything was forgiven as long as you know Jesus, it's all gonna be blah, blah, right? Well, here's the problem with that statement. See, you have limitations with the job, you have limitations even with the law, the actual law, right? We'll use that as an example, right? We have where the court could be overturned. You could have where there was a trial, what do they call it? Trial diversion. There could be many different things, but how many trial diversions are you going to have before the court finally says, you know what, you're guilty, get in the hanger, go. I mean, how many times do you think it's going to be? It's one thing if you're saying, oh, okay, I apologize, you know, I didn't realize that I did that, or this wasn't done intentionally. Now, does that mean you're getting out free and square? Not technically, okay? Even with Jesus, it says that even though that you are baptized, you still are going to have Lucifer sitting there trying to do many different things in your life to try to steer you away, all right? But the truth of the matter is, as long as Jesus is on your side and you are owning up to whether it's intentional or not, you know that you could be forgiven, but you have to take that step, that actual action that says, something like, thank you for letting me know that, to I'm sorry that that happened to you, and whatever the case may be. All right. And then you're going to feel much more better. And you're going to be in that prayer. That prayer is first you owning up that you know that you were wrong. Because guess what? Once you own up that you are wrong, I'm going to tell you right now, God works in mysterious ways. He will either A, give you another lesson that resembles the same one. It could be more difficult, okay? Or, because I had both happen. Or you could be having a revisitation of that person for which God says you're going to thank him or her for whatever that situation was. You are going to have to figure out how to actually step into action. So yes, folks, even with forgiveness is the prayer, but repentance is the action. You're going to have to figure out how that all is going to work in your life. Impardonable sin is sin that is the secret sin. It's like, oh, I'm not a drinker. I'm not, a smoker. I'm not, come on now, you know me. I'm such a perfect angel. And then, it's the secret. It's the things that you open that nobody knows anything about, right? And you're really hoping it's like, okay, this is non-negotiable, okay? Well, the problem is while that's confidential and non-negotiable, you're also telling God it's non-negotiable and it's confidential. And God's saying there is nothing more confidential. Excuse me. There's nothing more confidential and non-negotiable than your ticket to heaven. Amen. I would want that ticket. It's the only ticket that you would get that you don't have to pay for nothing because Jesus already did it. It's not like speeding down the road and you're trying to tell the cop, I'm sorry, because you got caught. No, it would be like you telling the cop you're sorry, but you really mean that you're not going to do it again and you don't do it again. And Jesus is the only one that would be able to know that. And he could read the heart, and therefore he would just say, it's my blood. See, God is the cop. Jesus is the one that says, well, it's my blood. So his blood goes and pays for that ticket. Can you imagine that? Think about this a minute. Okay, I'm going to put me, you, and God on this, okay? God is the cop. All right. You're the driver, and I hate to be stupid, but I'm gonna play Jesus. All right. So God catches you speeding. Okay, the cop catches you speeding. God says, "Here's a ticket." Okay, it's the punishment. Like if God comes on this earth right now, we would all be toasted, like literally toasted. There is no ifs or buts about that, and any average person would know that. But here's the truth. Jesus is the truth and the light. Ooh. What a powerful message tonight. Because see, here's the thing. And I am 100% guilty on a lot of what I do. Like, I'm not an angel. I literally just last night, because I'm trying to put a logo on one of the contracts, I had swore like crazy, like, come on, why is this thing not, that's really what I wanted to say, but that's not what came out of my mouth. Hallelujah. You know what I mean? But you know what? Even with me not even deserving that, but knowing where my heart was, God was able to solve that problem. See, God was able to solve that problem because I believe, hallelujah, when I say that, so Jesus was there and saying, it's my blood. And I know that in his heart of hearts, he did not mean what he was doing now. Amen, amen, amen. But if I'm sitting there grieving the Holy Spirit, what I'm doing is I'm ignoring the fact that I even own up to what I'm doing. And I would just do it with no heart. Like, oh, whatever, all that last night and any other day too, okay? Because, I mean, I'm not an angel, like I said. And there are times that when I really say it like I mean it, see, this is all for kids and everybody, so I'm keeping it G-rated. But the truth of the matter is, when I really say it like I mean it, and that's why I have to calm myself down. It's kind of like some of those other, like there are prophets in the Bible where they speak like they mean it. And, sometimes, like, for example, Jonah. Oh my God, please forgive him, right? I mean, this is a crazy story. Like, why didn't you just crush the city of Nineveh, right? Or what have you? Well, the people found in their heart to be forgiven. I mean, you gave the message. So you gave the message to hope that they were going to die anyway? I mean, what's going on here? I mean, we're kind of like, what is up with this? There are prophets that you'd be questioning. Then you got like these really, really nice guys, right? Like David, Bathsheba, and killing the king to get to the wife, and stealing this or doing that, and all this stuff, right? But yet his heart was with Jesus. How does that work? I'm confused. Some of you are probably thinking that, like, how can that work? Like, you're doing something like this, but your heart is for Jesus. See, let me give you the reality statement as a human. I'm a human now. I'm going to be speaking to you on a human level. No prophecy, none of this, okay? The truth of the matter is, it's all about the repentant stage of the forgiveness. He had to own up to what he had done. He had to sink himself to the lowest level. In other words, if you have pride, it would not work. It would be like you would own up to it, but you would actually just be very happy that you have done it. Like, oh, I got this wife. Everything's working out now. I don't even need God, right? And all this stuff. Well, here's the problem. Some of us actually probably do think this way. Hallelujah. Am I talking to America? I don't know. But what I do know is that during this pandemic, a lot of people were doing some really, really big prayers. I'm sure that God have heard most of them. So I'm here to actually ask you to do one thing. And that is to figure out where you see yourself. What prize do you want? Are you looking to get rich quick? Are you trying to figure out how you can just make stuff up into the Wall Street Journal and have everybody go after it, and boom, a majestic, rich just develops? Here's the problem. I hadn't brought this up, and I need to do this. If everybody was to form a business, then it boils down to everybody actually having expenses. There is no profit in the language. What do I mean by that? How can you develop profit when everybody's buying from everybody? If you're buying, it's an expense of some sort. If you don't need it, you're not buying. So then you're asking somebody else to get it from you, and therefore, in the end, the truth of the matter is, when it comes to taxation, if I were to really put this in the truth, with all the loopholes and everything, it wouldn't matter if you raised it all the way up to 100%. Everybody had expenses, nobody would be paying taxes. So I'm here to actually, and I'm going to explain this more in details tomorrow, I'm here to actually propose a stimulus plan. And that is actually this. Now, I'm not saying that because I'm nobody important, but let's just say if this was to actually, if this piece of the actual video was to be heard or seen by someone important, I would have to say that where we can be aligned is with those who are in poverty. And therefore, sometimes we, and now I'm a business owner, so I understand that. There are businesses that are helping, yes, but the reality is poverty is bad. There is homelessness. And I feel as if there was some kind of program for poverty as well as homelessness. Now, I'm not talking about making them lazier where you're going to get, they're going to just take and you're going to give. No. Do the same thing as you would do with unemployment. If you're going to do unemployment where it's being taxed at 10%, and if that's the only kind of income that they had, here we go. 2020 has actually proven that. Has it not? How many people are actually sinking into the poverty level because of a once in a lifetime pandemic? And by the way, I'm not even sure if it's once in a lifetime. You know, according to prophecy and the messages, there is more to come. The question is how well prepared as a country are we actually going to be? And the thing isn't about saving the money, it's about where the money is going and how it's being revealed. So in other words, if you can take taxes out for actual unemployment, but you're seeing the homeless being at one level, if you want to build the poverty to get out of poverty, you might want to do the same thing with those who are homeless. And instead of spending so much money in every single state, local city, and everything else with all these other extra programs, that extra money could be re-taxable. Hear me out, even if it was at 10%, okay, for $200 a month if you were to give $2,000 monthly checks. I would just say that as an example. All right. You could literally get people that are homeless off the street, and you can get the poverty up out of poverty, and things will start to get equalized. At some point, you probably wouldn't even need unemployment. The question really would be is, what is unemployment? Why? Because with universal basic income, it would already reattract itself. The only time unemployment would need to be reformed is if people were actually unemployed versus being in poverty, which is a whole nother level. So if the government really wants to show some real support, this is what I'm talking about. Something that will get everybody equalized. Because there are some, yeah, there is argument about those who are poor, or not poor, but like homeless. No, they just want things given to them. But you know what? Even at that same point, even if you were to give it to them, it doesn't get them out of the taxation, and you would be able to equalize on that taxation. Why? Because it is there. It's set up like the unemployment program. So that this is some of the things that I'm talking about. I'm hoping that somebody, and I'm going to bring this up in my actual primetime show tomorrow, because I want to do a 30-minute live where I'm just talking about taxation and ways that the government could actually help the poverty. In other words, I'm not going to talk against the government. I'm going to explain what would Jesus do? Put it that way. What would Jesus do? And even if it was at the best case scenario, if they're still going to be on the street, they can only blame themselves, but at least you were able to do what you were able to do. But it's going to require you to really own up to the fact that you want to fix a problem. Because this is all Americans. This isn't just some. And this thing about business and taxation, if there is nobody that is actually paying taxes to begin with in the business, so maybe figure some of the loopholes out or restrict some of them. But in the long run, it doesn't even make sense to even be having an argument about taxation, especially if some of the taxation is already happening. And nothing is unseen with God when people are getting the messages. Okay, so the truth of the matter is, we're seeing things going up. They're not going up just because. Okay, so we need to be real. We need to be honest. And I know that the world is going to be what it is. So I'm not going to sit here to explain to a group of people how to rule a world or to rule a country. But what I will say is that we will be heading in one right direction, getting rid of poverty and getting the homeless off the street. And I'm not just talking about spending money for a building that will put them in like cots. I'm talking about where they can take their own action and actually, and maybe there is a way that you can do it. Some of the ways could be, instead of cops finding them on the street doing some dumb thing and locking them up, they could actually send them to the entity that would actually have these checks available for them so that they can go ahead and be signed up for, I don't know, let's say some of the hotel places, and I only know this because I researched it for Ashraf Tausi and some other international. So it costs maybe $500 a month. Some of them, it might be a little bit more. So if you actually make it that way, you will increase hotel reservations and sales and taxes. Okay, that's coming from the money that you would be giving them. But at the same time, they will have a bed to sleep in, not a cot, and they don't have to be piled up in the 3 people to a room or whatever. And then it would be up to them to figure out how they would go about actually getting their life set straight, even if it was, and again, now I'm going to talk to you guys out there. If the government could hear me and they're saying, oh, this guy, this random guy that's sitting on this entertainment industry website is giving us these good ideas, something to actually think twice about. If we can get him to actually, if we can actually do what he's saying, if we could really break off half of the debt that is actually happening, because let me tell you where the debt is at. It is by the mistakes that were already done from the beginning of time. We don't know when that beginning was. I would probably almost presume, now listen to this, folks. Listen to this. And you want to talk about, you want to talk about, you want to talk about forgiveness and doing things on the right? The average American, unless they have not went to bachelorette school, they only went to the associate degree and that's it. The average college student in a university level probably has the amount of what the average of every American that's living on debt would be. Let me explain that. Let me put that in simple terms for you. They're saying that America is 28 point something trillion dollars in debt from years ago. That equals out to about $83,000 for every single living American we're talking about, even a newborn. Well, to everybody that's there. Let me just be very clear with you. $83,000, if that doesn't sound familiar, some of you already have paid off that kind of a debt via, you know what I'm about to tell you, student loan. Oh, hold on. I'm in trouble now. If they could literally just wipe out the debt of the student loan and figure out a system of the education system, because the real question is, if the government is going to provide grants to help the schools renovate, build better businesses and things like that, well, better buildings, you know, for schools and whatnot, then why not that be something good for every American? Even if there was a 20-cent thing on gas. What am I saying? What I'm basically saying is that the average American is going to be taking care of half of that 28 trillion by forgiving the whole entire whatever it is, student loan. I'm not even talking about 50, I'm talking about forgiving it completely, where there is actually no student loan debt. Here's the problem. If you can actually work with the trickle up, not trickle down, trickle up meaning from the people on up, you will start to realize that the debt at the top is going to come down. All right, well, let's talk about what I mean here. See, I'm not even a president. Maybe I should run. I don't know. I don't know if I want to run against somebody, some of these folks that, anyway. I'm going to put us, let's talk about the one-man show starting a business, right? You know that starting a business, you cannot have debt. You need to have money in the bank. You need to have money. You need to make money. You need to have money to make money, right? That's the rule of thumb. That's what we're hearing. Well, if you have debt, you can't start business. And forgiving a piece of it isn't going to do any better. I hate to say it this way. I'm sorry. Anything is better than nothing. But forgiving a piece of it still is going to put you at the problem. The problem is that the debt on a personal level must be erased, period, even expunged bankruptcies. Oh yeah, I'm not kidding when I say that. Re-extract what that credit system is, and this is the chance to start new. Are you hearing me? Because the economy is already, like, we are seeing the economy blooming. But I think the one chance that we have, especially as a government, if you want to show it in God's eyes, you have to show the truth. And the truth is what you are actually willing to forgive. The repentance stage is the action, saying, all right, you know what? That's it. I'm going to, with a stroke of a pen, boom, done. I'm going to tell you this straight up. You probably don't even have to give money for businesses. I mean, I think you're wasting trillions of dollars on the wrong idea. The real idea really is about, now, don't get me wrong, we do need new roads. And yeah, we are in this predicament of actually being able to get climate. There is climate change. There are some issues there. That is all well and good. I believe that is really something big. But I think to add to that, you got to get rid of debt, because if you're only adding debt to make somebody that's not even paying the debt off anyway to begin with, it's just a useless story. That's all it is. It's a lot of talk and no action. So the only way that you're going to be able to fix this problem is you got to close the door, like I said in the beginning, and then open it anew. And the only way you're going to be able to do it is you have to forgive everything. If that even means that you have to be on your knees to actually say, look, you know, it may be another way of saying that the United States go bankrupt without actually saying that we are. Why? Because we don't need to. There is no real reason. The problem is you're holding on to outside debt that makes no sense. Too much of it. That makes no sense. It's a bunch of debt that equals out to nothing. And when you pay that debt, does that even give you anything? No, that just pays the debt off. That doesn't give you nothing. You should be knowing this by now. For example, someone came to repo your car. You still owe a piece on that car. Are you driving the car? Are you getting anything out of it? No, you still lose it in the end. And you got to pay more. The Fed is already saying we're at 0%. Do what you got to do. Here's the problem. And I'm hoping that this will be where we solve it. Oh yes, Chuck, I'm talking to you. I'm talking to you as well. A lot of you have been talking a little bit against the Democrats and all that. But you know what? Here's the thing. Democrats might be about big government, but the truth of the matter is the development of the big government, the small government didn't know anything about how to take care of the big problem. Sometimes you have to have a big foot to be able to close the door because a small one isn't heavy enough. So I'm just going to put it to you this way. You have to expunge all debt. That's the only way it's going to work. That is my plea to you. I did what I had to do. In my lifetime, I went bankrupt. In my lifetime, I've had repossessions. Oh, yeah, no, I'm talking about before I've started business and all that, all right? But there are people out there that are still filing bankruptcy now because of the stuff that happened during either pre-pandemic or the pandemic. That is unnecessary. So that is really my plea. And that is the prayer that I have is, who is actually willing to step up and say, I forgive you. Let's start from scratch. Let's really make this thing happen. It might mean that you have to start somewhere totally where you thought you were going to have to start somewhere else. You might have to have a whole nother bill. You may. Just on this one topic. Why? Because what I'm telling you, this is going to be the last chance before the break of dawn. From what I can see, to get America straight. And I'm sorry to say it that way, but it is the truth. God put us in a position where we can look at the repentance. We can look at where the real problems are. We have already seen the difference between trickle up versus trickle down economics. We know where that reality hit. It's time to take action. Amen. I'm being serious. Now, I know that I sound like I'm preaching like it's the word of God and this and that, but the truth of the matter is, folks, I had to be able to explain somewhere with my mouthpiece how to fix how God sees the fixing of a major problem. Because here's the thing, if we don't fix it, God will. And then, as we already have learned, we have no control when God fixes the problem. So will we be able to listen? Or are we going to allow greed, fear, pride, and everything else lead us into a path of destruction? Because at this point, that's what it would be. If we just continue down that path, folks, I'm serious, where we left off at, because 2020 was the dark road. It was, you had to stop. You had to stop. There's nothing you could do about it. Too many people are worrying about how to make it a dime or whatever. No, what we need to worry about, right, what we need to focus on is how do we focus on the alignment of where God is leading. And for some of us, we're going to be in various different degrees, while some other of us might have found that way. But I will tell you, as far as economics is concerned, we could head down a road of destruction if we plan to stay in the way that we feel comfortable. So I hate to say this, especially with anyone that doesn't like change. Change is either going to happen by somebody that knows how to change and make it happen, or God is going to say, I'll change it for you. But it's not going to be exactly the way that we would want it, which is going to really be, in other words, when you stop something, it doesn't slow down, it halts. Boom, you stop. There is, like, when the internet shuts off, you're not going to see me. Okay? It stopped. The end, done, poof. All right? But then when the internet gets back on, now I can figure out exactly what I need to do to make it better. So what am I trying to say again? The forgiveness of debt is literally the biggest challenge. And I'm not talking about just government. I'm talking about some of us that might be owing owing money, owing a favor, hoping that somebody follows through with some kind of a plan or whatever. You have to forgive and move on. Hear me? Are you hearing me? You have to forgive and move on. Move on doesn't mean that you're letting go. It just means that you're moving on to where God wants you to be next. God has something special. So, and then the truth of the matter is, while you're thinking about this, is taxation the only resolution to a problem when it comes to the, say, country law? Think about it, because that might be the issue why it doesn't make sense to forgive debt. Why would you do that? That means that you're also forced to forgive yourselves. Very strange scenario, isn't it? Indeed. It is something to think about, something strangely to think about. But it's not something that you could just keep focused, like, oh, I'm just going to think about it. I'll talk about it. I'll give you infomercials about it. I'll throw a commercial up about it. I'll do this. I'll do that. It's at least it's showing I'm doing something. Here's the problem. Every time you're doing that, you're raking up more debt. You hear me? Every time you do that, you're raking up more debt. What do you do about the debt? Now, there is a point in forgiving debt versus, see, I have personal debt, but I also have business debt, right? What I'm talking about is personal debt, especially if you're talking about, I would like people to start businesses. Well, they can't start businesses if they have all this other debt or bank. Even the fact that there's a bankruptcy on the credit report is bad enough. But if you're going to forgive the debt, what's the point of the bankruptcy? Expunge it. You're going to have to forgive it, right? Doesn't make sense. You know, some of this is because of our decisions too, but you know, there is actually a truth to this, what I'm about to tell you. I think Americans have woken up, most of us have, where they are realizing that these, like, we'll call them stimulus checks for lack of a better term, was given to them, and they know how to spend for what they need and where they're saving for the other part, and it's in the economic data. So, and yet the economy is it's reestablishing itself because of Americans actually focus and realize that situation. And that's a simple situation, but as simple as that was, it took God to stop us in our track to literally open a new way. But then you have government fighting back and forth about, well, you know, well, the economy is going back the way it is, and we don't need to worry about. No. That ain't even a part of it. That's the difference between the rich getting richer and want to fight about getting more money. You need to figure out how they're going to pay in what was being robbed. If you're going to talk about someone owing debt. If we're going to be owing debt and you can't forgive that, then you're going to have to forgive that. In that case, there are going to have to be changes in the way things are done, right? So that's basically what I was saying or trying to propose. And I think it only makes sense, but you're going to have those that are like Turtle Boy. Oh, that's too big of that's a waste of money. Why would it be a waste of money? Because the big business, the more money that you are forgiving, like the more the credit card debt is being forgiven, the more the bankruptcies are being expunged, the more that, all this stuff is happening. I'm not talking about debt where you're on time with, like, okay, if you're actually, I'm talking about forgiving debt. Debt is debt, like you owe money. So the point that is happening, and what's even more sad is that you're owing money, but the interest is climbing like I don't know what. It's way up there. Like there are some students right now that just based off of the pandemic, maybe not so recently since Biden, but under other legislations or whatnot, you would have where the loan wouldn't have to be paid for, but interest was allowed to be allocated. Really? Well, if that's the case, so there's no sense of even doing it. I'd rather just pay a little bit of the loan and let the interest go down. I mean, what does this? And then you don't have the money, so then you're asking for forbearance. So then if you ask for the forbearance and the money is still, the interest is still escalating. So the point that I'm getting at is the interest becomes more than what the loan was. So if you're going to actually forgive debt, you have to wipe away all the interest that's included. Not the actual debt. Not okay, you owe 179,000 minus 50. No, because 179,000 could have been $80,000 worth of interest that a student couldn't get. Okay, so that's what I'm talking about. But at the same point, I'm also really trying to be fair here in how I'm explaining this. So if the trickle down or the trickle up effect were to happen, meaning that from those that are in poverty who might have went to school and had to get a student loan still, ended up with student loan debt. And here's the other thing. Schools are initiating student loans as if it was like Halloween candy. Loans should actually be in the necessary case. It'd be no different than what the SBA is doing right now. You have to show that you got a 30% economic loss, right? Or for the $5,000 thing, you got to show that you got 50% loss, right? Well, there's some kids that are going to school and they're like, oh, I could get $20,000 for the year and they only need $8,000 worth of the loan. Well, guess what? They put themselves into $12,000 more of debt every year because the school says, oh, it's okay, you can do that. So are we understanding each other? Are we following each other? Come on now. I know you got to be saying this. And I've been there and done that. I know exactly what I'm talking about. I'm one of those that had done that for a year. And I now think back and I'm like, man, I should have never done it. The money looked good. And yet I had nothing to say for myself. And now, guess what? It took me with a silent partner to actually finally get my business blooming, even though that I made that poor decision at that time. It was kind of hard to develop a business too when you have to spend about 80 hours of your time actually studying, because there's all these, you know how college rolls. I mean, if you're taking an associate degree, you're repeating what you learned in high school. Well, the way I look at it is, if you don't know how to string two sentences together by the time you're out of high school, then maybe you have to repeat high school. There is no sense of wasting money in college to have to do English 101. So I don't know how the high school system is teaching, but these are all, I'm just telling you the reality of how I seen things, okay? Of how I'm seeing things. Now, if you're seeing something different, that's fine. You can leave me a message at the bottom of the video, and I'll be more than glad to answer in the next video. Don't forget to subscribe at our YouTube channel, SL Models and Talent Agency, LLC. You're probably wondering, what did this last bit here have anything to do with what I brought up in the beginning? Now I'm going to wrap it all the way around. I'm giving you every real excuse that any American that would like to get involved don't want to tell you. I'm giving you the reality as to why they don't want to spend money into an industry that they feel as if it's not going to come back to them unless they know that it will. And what proof do you have? And when I say proof, most people that I talk to, they're saying, am I bookable? If you're saying no, you need to do the training first, then you have to be upfront and then give them a training contract. Do not sit there and sugarcoat it as a, well, through this, you can do that. No, people are not going to sit around waiting to listen to that garbage. They're just not. So if you want to know why this actually revolves back around into the entertainment industry, is because real people are actually not, they're afraid to say the truth that I just brought up. And this is the truth. Why do you think we're asking for sponsors for tuition aid grants? We're saying grants, we're not talking about loans. We don't want to give loans. Loans is debt. When we have sponsors that will be able to help us to sponsor these new faces into the industry, because understand this, America got two problems. We're getting older and we're getting bigger. Uh-oh. It is the reality. Getting older and we are getting bigger. What does that mean? In this industry, it's almost like they have to expect to hire trend setters. Whereas the actual industry going to, say, France, they're still looking for, they're looking for people that are high fashion. Europe still has that. They are healthy. They are living much like in a whole nother level. Don't get me wrong. I'm not putting any judgment where people aren't healthy and all this, but the truth of the matter is we are getting bigger and we're getting older, meaning that all these people that are celebrity, they are going to be celebrities and sooner or later are going to be on a Hall of Fame. Who's going to be taking those spots? That's the real question. Now, I don't mean to go against the celebrities out there. This is not about that. In fact, I love each and every one of them that are in the industry, but I'm also speaking a real truth. I'm speaking the reality because, those who are on a Hall of Fame, some of them already died off. Some of them don't even know when their last breath was and they died off. You know what I'm talking about. Come on now, you hearing me? Who's going to take those spots? Or are we just all going to sit here and keep claiming you can be a superstar? The problem is, and this is why SL Models and Talent Agency LLC had decided to start the coaching and consulting services within it, especially for freelancers. Why? Because the thing is that SLMTA actually sees the reality. We're not just sitting here hoping for superstar. So we can see that we see the celebrities that are out there already. We're not trying to say that you could, that you will be, but what we are saying is that who do you think is going to take the place of those superstars that you are seeing out there today? And if you can't answer it, it probably is that you're not there yet. That's just your real answer. If you can't answer it, then you're not there yet. And that's where you need to be with someone like me in the coaching and the consulting piece of it. Now, I'm not saying that I'm a model. I'm nowhere near a model, okay? And I'm not going to sit there and try to say that I can, if I wanted to try it, sure, I could go ahead and try it. If it happens, it happens. So that's not where I'm at in my life. I'm a visionary. I'm not a wannabe. Okay, I don't have the time to want to be something, not yet. I have time to be a visionary, and that's what I'm going to be. So the thing is that I want to be able to share the experiences that I had, share the actual wisdom, not just the knowledge. And knowledge don't actually mean anything. It's the wisdom. It's me actually seeing that what I see out there and letting you know hardcore that this is what it's going to end up being or what it could be. Like my goal, my niche for Astronaut Towsey, and it could happen, is that he could literally be the next American supermodel. Why? He has that potential to do so. He has that look to do so. And I'm going to put him, I'm going to smash him up on every single press and media that is out there when he gets here. I want the press to actually see it. I want to bring the news. I want it top notch and straight to the point. No turning, no void. This is it, folks. The truth is here. Plus, also, he deserves it. There are several people that deserve it. I mean, I'm not saying that the celebrities don't, whatever you may be thinking. Actually, what I am telling you is that the celebrities made it to where they were, where they are, not where they were, but where they are, because of the hard work that they did. But do not turn around and try to make yourself look like you are a celebrity without having the prelim of what a celebrity is. Like, I couldn't say I'm a celebrity award-winning spokesperson if all I did was maybe get one award for being a top YouTube channel spokesperson for the entertainment industry. Now, I'm only making it up. There is no truth to that. But if it was, that doesn't make me a celeb until more people are starting to wonder. They're actually trying to figure out, like, who is this person? And then they start interviewing me. And then more people are actually after it. You have a huge following list. So like what makes a definition of a celebrity versus somebody that's like a pro model? A pro model is someone that basically has experience in the industry, but not enough where the paparazzi actually knows who they are. I mean, that's probably as basic of an answer I could give you. There's a little bit more to it, but that would be the main piece of it. Because you have to be able to show proof of a following. You can't just like be like, yeah, no, I'm a celebrity, and you only got 200 people that actually know you. Then here's the other thing that I want to say, and this is going to step on some of the celebrities' toes too, but mainly for agencies as well. Sometimes you find yourself in trouble because you're setting your expectations too high. Ooh, wow. What do you mean? Well, you can't go any more higher than if you were actually a celebrity, except for Hall of Fame, in that case. But if you're reaching into that level. But like, setting expectations high is meaning like you're trying to say that you are this figure, and you're trying to put yourself as that figure before you even are consulted as that figure. You're trying to say there are some out there that are actually, they could be even called pro singers, but they're trying to say that they're celebrity singers because of it could just simply be anything from a celebrity award show all the way to like 25 million people saw me during an episode of this. You know what I mean? Here's the thing, 25 million people might have saw you. Out of 25 million, who actually is sticking with you? I'm getting that reality right now as a talk host on my YouTube channel, where I'm doing a 3-hour interactive show. I know that there are millions out there watching me right now. I also know that in the interactive position in the impressions, that there are several thousands of people watching. But the truth of the matter is I only have 1.23, maybe it's a little bit higher now. I don't know. I hadn't checked it since I've been live. But 1.23, like 12, almost 1,300 people or so that have actually subscribed. So the thing is, there's a difference between millions of people watching you and following you. And I'm not talking about spending $50 a month, folks, okay? And having a bunch of, like, I don't know what you want to call them, robots subscribing. I'm talking about actual people that would be watching and then deciding to subscribe versus all that I just mentioned. So, SL Models and Talent Agency is very, very, very dedicated to the people. We take everybody serious that is on our roster. But what we expect is that seriousness to be shown together in alignment. If it's not, it's probably not meant to be for you. And SLMTA is okay with that. We know the difference between what is okay for you and what is not, versus being desperate and saying, no, you have to do it like this. or why aren't you doing that? Or even using the judgmental excuses of, oh yeah, that even this happens. The judgmental excuse coming from agencies that would say, well, you know, something like not so much taking action, because you want the people to take the action, but just showing that desperation of, we need you, why are you not sticking with us type of reaction. You have to be careful with that, because when you start showing yourself as desperate, you don't actually get anybody. It literally, you know, I'm speaking on the terms of an agency at this point. You have to like just roll with it. They don't want to show up, that's on them. It's okay to actually talk about it, and, you know, just don't show any desperation. Even if you feel like, man, they had the potential. Because that's all I could do. All I could do is sit here and explain to people that when I see potential, I'm going to ask you out. I'm going to ask you, are you, you know, have you ever been asked to become a model? Have you done modeling? There are some folks out there that look like they are model material that I thought they were actually models, and they wasn't. And I was like, man, why are they not even out there? I've had some say that agencies were wasting their time. Well, you know, I know both sides of the story. I know agencies that will waste people's time, you know, and I also know people that are wasting agencies' time. Usually it's the latter. Why am I saying that? Because agencies are willing to work with you as long as the agency says some. Actually, let me put this to you straight. As long as the agency is not sugarcoating and will tell you everything up front, then you would actually be able to see what your choice is. So, like, for example, I can see people that have potential to be a model, but never model, even though I thought that they did, just because of the way that they looked and the way that they hold themselves. Even their profiles show it, right? So, okay, they told me the truth. They never did modeling, right? Okay, got it. Well, I may tell them, look, I don't want to waste your time, and you don't want to waste mine. I see that you have potential, but, you know, we need to work with each other to get you booked. And that means that you have to work toward that goal. Are you willing to work toward that goal? Now, they may, some might say, this is an excuse to get money from me. And, you know, that's the fear of, I just don't have the money, I'm not dealing with it. Just let it go, let them be. When they have the chance that they are able to improve their skills or actually show a portfolio or something, they'll come back. Or hopefully some, you know, no agency is going to take somebody that's not going to be able to do anything. They have to do the work. The only thing is that I tell it like it is. So, hey, you don't want to do the work, you ain't getting an agency that's not going to just not do the work. Okay, you're going to have to do it. So, is there a cost? Some of them might ask that. Yeah, there's a cost. Well, usually, okay, yeah, there's a cost, but that's not how I would explain it. What I would say is that, yes, you want to invest in yourself to be educated in this industry for what it is that you want to do. And the good thing about SLMTA with the Community Stars program is that it's a well-rounded education, and you have a year to finish it, and you actually graduate up to the next level. What is the next level? Instead of you wishing that you would be booked, we have a process that if you had not gotten booked while you were being educated, which is going to be kind of hard anyway, because our Community Stars program is kind of like a like a master program, so to speak, in education, but it's usually done during the after school hours for kids, and then and a couple times during the week. And then, of course, for adults, it would be when they could fit it into their schedule, whether it's work schedule, what have you. But you still are going to learn the audition techniques. You're still going to have to audition. You're still going to need to know the process of auditioning. You may get a booking, but the booking is going to determine whether or not you have time to even do it, and that it's not going to revolve around your educational experience. So there's going to be a lot of stuff going there, or we would know about the booking and then try to work with you on that schedule. So that way, then it works that way. But regardless, it's a year and it ends with a convention, meaning that you're actually going to a convention. You're not paying no more money out. Everything's already up front. Okay. So you're paying whatever as one set price. It ends with a convention. It starts with a photo shoot, which you're going to be learning right from the beginning what it means to actually be on set, how long you're on set, doing your makeup, everything. Oh yeah. And then actually going to be like, it's like the Miami photo shoot, 10 hours for training for 2 days. That's 20 hours of training within 2 days, just on being on set and knowing poses and doing walks. You're getting exposed with some clients and agencies done during that process. So then it gets even better when you're actually getting the portfolio done, because yes, the goal is that you're actually getting the portfolio done. So for some of you that either need new pictures or some of you that may actually need a portfolio, this $750 is a good investment to get down into Miami, Florida, and be with us for 4 days to get all this straightened out for you. It also includes lodging. What it doesn't include is travel. And that's because some of the people that are already coming or planning to come, they already have their traveling already figured out. So I figured I'm just going to leave that alone. But lodging, yes. If you're going to take care of lodging, what we will probably do in that case is we would waive $100. That's what we decided to do. We would waive $100 off of that, just so that way then you're not doing the whole thing. But you wouldn't know that without signing up first anyway. We would need to know what your plan is, because hey, you might be on a vacation already in Miami, and you want to just participate in this 4-day thing. You could already be in Miami if you're listening to me. I don't know. I'm not doing the pictures, okay? I'm not a photographer. I'm an agent, okay? I run an agency. I'm a visionary. That's who I am. I'm not going to sit here and sugarcoat that. All right? I'm no model. Could I be an influencer? Oh, heck yeah. I'll influence you. Come on, guys. We got to get to Miami. I'm serious. I have 5 people that are talking about already being in Miami during that time and was asking the price. And I said, okay. So I'm actually willing to work with the price, even though it's set at a certain level, because if you're already there, then it's just a matter of you being present. But if you're looking to travel and it's like, oh, well, I don't think I'll be able to like drive or fly or whatever down to Miami. Well, then wait, maybe we, if you're in New York, we'll be doing a photo shoot in New York. We're going to be doing, we are planning one actually in Chicago. it will most likely end up being, it's going to end up being next year, and it will not be in the winter. But the idea is that, yes, some agencies are asking for you to take action. Like that's where I say, yeah, let's take action. The opportunities are there. We got 2 contests coming up. We're going to have a competition that's going to be set up. We have online avenues that you can participate. If you're not a model and or talent and you want to be part of the community, you can do that as well. If it's too much to do 5 hours per month to our community page on patreon.com/SLMTA, then you could always sign up to play bingo cards and then actually get some money back. I mean, there are so many things, there's options out there. The idea is whether or not you want to do it. But I'm not going to sit here and be desperate. If I got to move it on, I'll move it on. It doesn't mean that I'm not doing nothing as an agency. It just means that it'll mean 2 things. Either A, it wasn't the right time, or B, guess what? You've lost your opportunity. But I'm not going to be desperate. I'm not going to keep asking you, hey, do you want to do that? So you want to do that? No. I had one person tell me, like, I can't show up for this, and then turned around and it's like you're going on a computer to do it. All right, I got you. I'm still waiting about 48 hours later or so for the reply about like what day and time. But am I gonna sit here and keep messaging like, hello, like, are you are we going to meet? When are we going to meet? How about meeting? And then again, the same questions the next day. At that point, they'll probably end up pressing the block button or unfriending you or whatever at that point. They don't have time to listen to that. If they didn't want to speak to you from the get-go, that's what they're doing. So don't even waste the time. Keep it moving. That's how I see it. Now, there are legitimate scenarios where folks are busy, and you just have to accept the fact that it is what it is. That's a little bit contrary to what I'm about to say here. If you are too busy, then you need to figure out if you're going to be able to make time to be in this industry. Because the truth of the matter is, whether you're bookable or not, and some of the folks that I'm talking to that don't have any experience as a model but actually look like a model, they could literally be bookable, but the question is, would they actually accept the jobs? So there's a lot going on. Like that conversation even came up with one of our clients, with Birds View Entertainment, where, you know, wasn't sure if the people would show up and things like that. And I was like, well, I'm going through the process of what they're telling me, you know, but that's the thing. We would literally have to, because in the contract, if you hadn't figured it out, SLMTA does expunge you with a fine, meaning that you would be responsible on the payment. If you purposely, in other words, if you're purposely going to say, I will go to a job, and you have wasted the time of both SLMTA and the client, then yes, because we end up being penalized to a certain degree. We may lose a client, maybe, maybe not. It just depends on the situation, but 9 times out of 10, it could be. At the same time, if there is a penalty to this whole entire thing, it is going to be your responsibility because you never showed up. Now, you could sit there and push the block button But evidently, this becomes a legal issue. Understand, these are legal binding contracts. This is not something where you're just, some people have been treating me as if they were just signing a contract and then just would disappear in plain sight. No, this is actually legal binding contracts, folks. When you sign with an agency, you are expected to follow the guidelines of those industry standards set upon in that contract. Like, for example, just randomly showing up to some gig and then and claiming that you're a freelancer, but then showing up getting paid for it when we don't know about it. And then we figured out, oh, how is it that you were able to do this? And we were not communicated about it. We need to know what you're trying to do or what you want to do, and if anything has happened. It's not so much about whether or not we are being paid, even though that is part of your responsibility, but it's also about the fact that it shows that you're not trying to override a system, that you are trustworthy. Because there is a lot in this contract that some don't understand. And then there are some that are signing and they're like, well, you know, I'm represented by the agency, but they're not listening to what the agency wants from them. And they are wasting their time by doing nothing for what we're asking them to do. Like, I have an analysis sheet, so I'm able to come up with some kind of comp card that actually has information on it, but no photos, because none of the photos are actually bookable photos. And I want to be very blunt and honest when I say that. Now, hairstylists and that kind of thing, it like, even then you want to look presentable. Like, it's different if you're working at a salon, but if you want to present yourself as a professional where you're a licensed hairstylist and makeup artist, you may want to actually show us something where you're not behind an apron, but actually in charge of your focused position. Like, for example, Eric Makeup. Eric could literally show what he's doing. He has his own movie, his own commercials and things like that, that is able to show what it is that he's doing. And it's not faked, you know, or it doesn't look fake. Well, that's what you want to do when you're actually looking to present yourself as a professional. I mean, I'm even working on that with myself. I had to change some of my wardrobe. I've been wearing things that were comfortable because of the pandemic, but we're moving on now from that. So I'm getting dress pants so that I don't look like I just got out of bed, if that makes sense. So there's a lot here that I mean, there are dreamers on my list that I'm wondering if they're more or less daydreaming or sleepwalking than actually dreaming. Because some folks will visualize themselves like, oh, I keep hearing like I look good, I could be in this magazine, I could be that, you know what I mean? But then the real question is while I may agree that you could be, what are you doing to get yourself to actually doing it? And by the way, it's not just going to be me here after a couple of months, folks. It will be Ashraf and me. And his view of the industry is slightly different than mine, even. And he will flat out tell you if you like, how do I want to say that? He'll actually tell you your model material. There is no other way of putting it. Now, what he doesn't know, which I need to share with him about a little bit, is that America is getting bigger and older. So trendsetters is a thing in America where he may not be used to that working in France and places like that. Because believe me, they are very, very picky. They are looking for a specific look if you're going to walk the catwalks in France. So, I mean, it's a way different scenario. I think even in India, they have very specific what they're looking for, you know, height, weight, not like what you're able to fit into and everything else. But anyway, I figured I'd bring that all to your attention because, you know, there is going to be a piece of SLMTA where we're going to be breaking the reality check on you, and there's going to be a piece of so they're going to be very welcoming to the point that as long as you're willing and able to learn the system, great. I will be honest, if you're a dreamer, meaning a beginner that never done this, and you're trying to get booked thinking that everybody knows you before you started, it's going to be hard. It's going to be hard for me to actually book, especially if you're going to sit here and say, I don't have money for portfolios or not. In that case, I like that I have met you, but you're going to have to show me something to show that you did something, or you're going to have to give me something so that I can promote you. With that being said, even though I could promote you, the real question is, do you know anything about the industry? Do you even know how to do the poses? Some folks were giving me poses after I've been waiting so long, and they're still not model material. And some of them even were trying to tell me, oh, I've done modeling school and everything else. Okay, if you've done the modeling school already, then why am I getting poses where it looks like you're laying on a pillow, getting up out of bed with a smile and butterflies roaming through your head? Why am I getting a photo like that? You should be knowing you should be knowing how to pose in a studio, what have you, for your photo shoot. Some are like half naked, past the belly button, and like I don't know, like if they're looking down at their toes or what's going on, but that was a little bit confusing. Some were saying, I'm going to go ahead and do the poses that you're saying, and I'll get back to you. It's been 4 months. I hadn't heard nothing. And these are folks whom actually, I'm talking about folks that actually have signed, okay, that I'm talking about. So if you're talking about wasting time, I'm here to tell you, I don't have time to be wasted. And there are big clients that are looking for real action. So I'm here to help you as long as you're able to help yourself. You gotta get off your butt, get up, do the walking, show up, and shut up. That's the best way that I could put it. There is no other way. All right. We understand the economic issues. We understand this COVID-19 issue. Yes, that is true. There's a lot of reality. But I'm imploring to you guys now. Even if you didn't have the money, the good thing about non-exclusive with SL Models and Talent Agency is that you can go month to month if you needed to. Like when I do international sponsorships, I'm putting dates on them. Okay, there are actual dates on them. But typically, because it does say it in the contract toward the end, especially in the modeling one, that they are yearly contracts. But if you want it non-exclusive, we could have done it month to month. And the thing is, we could have done it based off of when you are actually able to provide us what we need. Because it's one thing to work on your niche, but if you can't even afford to get photos, it's probably going to be just as bad to afford the training. Which is why we were trying to include everything in one package. We wanted you to go to the convention, do your photos and everything. And by the way, it's actually pretty cheap. I'm not going to say what the cost is. For some, it might seem expensive, but I'm telling you, based off of what is included in that, it's not expensive at all. Especially when convention in itself, there's a specific price per person. So you want to make sure that you are ready to do the work. Some of you might be like, well, I won't have a life. I go to school, I'm studying, then I go to work, and then the only time I have, well, that's for you to figure that one out. That kind of a thing to me is just it is an excuse. And I really don't really care about the seconds and minutes that you use to tell me the excuse. The real question is, can you make it work? If you can, great. See, this is the piece. This is the piece that I want to share with you. The agency is able to work with you as long as you have something that you can present to the agency in regards to, like, for example, Malik. We had to work with him for 3 weeks to figure out a point in time when to actually do the training before he did it. It wasn't very clear cut and dry because everybody, well, for him, it was a little bit easier because he had a clear cut, dry schedule. But some of the scheduling was just going all crazy. And then, of course, weather up there and stuff like that. But I'm able to work with him because there's communication. That's the number one thing that we would need. If you're not communicating and we don't know what the real need is, even now, like, we have people that are interested in wanting to sponsor, but the sponsor is not to give SLMTA a profit. It's literally to sponsor to help with tuition aid grants. Well, tuition aid grants is our grant system to help offset what you may not actually have. And you're going to have to provide tax information and all that to prove that you're having these issues. Well, we wouldn't know if you're having that issue for real, or to be able to do anything if you didn't communicate to us your tax papers and all that to determine if you fall into it. our category of need. You have to know our category of need too. I mean, because it's not the same as the government scenario, because we're going to be having many people applying once tuition aid grant actually goes live, wanting to get into this program. There's going to be a lot of people wanting to try to get that same grant, believe me, when I say it. With that being said, it's probably going to be okay, this year it's a starting process, but coming in the next, say, couple of years, it's probably going to be some of the biggest conventions ever that probably the convention scene. Because tuition aid grants, it's like any other school. When they hear that, they're going to run to it and they want to take advantage of it. But while that's happening, when they hear about a grant, what they're actually saying is, oh, and even if they had to come up with something, it makes it a little bit easier, because why? The grant can only be held for so long, and that is the start of that schooling period. So if you're not starting, we can't pay out to you. And technically the grant would be the write-off of what it is, but it would be physical money. Why? Because the 6,500 or whatever that we are charging, there's a couple programs of 6,500, and like the music one is very expensive. It can go up to 10,000. Not that it is expensive, but it depends on the music program. You literally have to pay primary and secondary for each program, and then you have quarterly fees. And you're also paying dues to the program within the thing. So we just decided to add everything up so that you don't have to worry about. So while these are big numbers and they're very like, like 10,000, oh no, I can't do that. What this really is, and while you have a tuition aid grant, that's why we're asking folks to sign up now, because we have sponsorship packets that you could take home and have your support system actually sponsor you, so that you're not completely going out of pocket even still yet. Okay. And it will help you to get this paid. So even while we are wanting to give you a tuition aid grant, you still could be raising $6,000 just on local businesses or whatever that know you, that would like you to participate. But that's how this game actually goes. And otherwise, you'd have to have everything, and it's pretty simple, cut straightforward. Like for model, to 6,500, you're paying 1,950. Okay, that's the 30% down. That gets paid by August 11th. Then you have 10 equal payments of 550. So if you got, say, I'm just going to throw a number out there, $1,000 coming in per month for your own physical sponsors, that gives you a $450 credit every single month. So, because on the packet that I give you, they can either give you a one-time gift or they can give you a monthly gift. And when they sign up for monthly, we call to confirm that, and then we put the credit card information in from the paper that you've given us to the file, and then it's paid automatically. You don't have to keep going to them every single month. We take care of it from there. So yeah, and then if it's paying you, we would probably tell you, hey, look, your tuition's getting paid up. We would be letting you know when you don't need any more sponsorship at all. Because if you have a month to month and then everything is already paid, then the credits are going to have to come back to you. Unless, of course, they check the box on the paper that says that they are allowing the sponsorship to go back into the tuition aid grant, then we would go ahead and go down that route. So that's where we're at. You have tuition aid grants, sponsorships, or you'd have to pay us. But either way, one way or the other, it's probably the most influential, cut dry, easy way, straightforward agency training program that you're going to find. And a lot of it is done online. And if you needed any face-to-face interaction with, say, a tutor or whatnot, some of the grant money would be applied to that. So if you did have a support system, we would be letting you know if you need it more for like tutoring and things like that. But that's how that would go. It's been 3 hours and it's been a little bit long. But I wanted to share with you all, if you had not yet subscribed, please subscribe to our YouTube channel, SL Models and Talent Agency, LLC. Also, if you want to start the process of becoming a community member, you can do so for as little as $5 a month at www.patreon.com/SLMTA. And we will welcome any support that you can provide for us. And that support goes toward the SLMTA educational program called the Community Stars. And a little bit about what Community Stars is. It's a 1-year program. It's split into 2 sections, 6 months of audition readiness and 6 months of performance readiness. At the end, they will attend a convention. After the convention, a week or 2 after, there will be a graduating ceremony. At that point, they will be SLMTA certified and with experience within the industry. Awards will be given during that time as well. So that is where we are at with that. It does cost a little extra for those who are thinking about the Community Stars program if you want to go into our master's program. Master's program is only for ages 16 and above. Okay, so if you're age 16 and above and you are very influential in what you're doing and you want to master yourself into things, it's a little bit more expensive, but you can divide the payment into 2 years. Okay. We will be able to work with you on that level because it's the master program is about $13,000. And it does involve everything that Community Stars has, but it's the master stars that we're talking about in that program. Could you get a tuition aid grant? Yes, if your finances do qualify for it, you would get a tuition aid grant. And the tuition aid grants cover up to 50% based off of income. But you'd have to give us the appropriate information on that. You would have to register before the start of the first term, which would be the week of August 11th. Let me see what that is. Give me one moment. Okay, that's Wednesday. So it would be Monday, August 16th is when that actual start date is. After everything is done, of your down payment. If you say, for example, it was 13,000 and you were approved for the 50%, that would be 6,500. Your 30% would be 1,950. If you register at least 2 months prior to, you can still get our sponsorship packet in the mail, okay, where you would be able to then, or we can email it to you and you can get people to sign up for you. Okay, and then whatever you don't have, as long as it's before August 11th, the 1,950 would be paid. All right, and then it's about $550 a month. That's based off of 6,500. Now, to get 50%, technically you would have to show, you would actually have to show yourself being at about, it's starting at about 40,000, no, 30,000. It would be about $30,000 is going to be the cutoff. So anything under that, then